Welcome back to Socks Out Racing as we continue the coverage of our World Street Stock Sprint Series. Last week we were at Okayama Circuit, which left things very lively with the cars and with the drivers. So let's take a look and see what all happened. So to start things off, we had 13 cars on the grid. One of the drivers decided to start from pit lane, it appears, but going through turn 1 was very nice. Everybody went either 2x2 or single file, and no crazy 3 or 4-way entries into turn 1. Turn 2, everybody started to kind of single file, relatively drama free except for the number 23 car who got a little sideways over-corrected and off into the wall he went. As we approached turn 4, the 15 car was just a little bit too close and too late on the brakes, so he decided just to go wide, keep the car one piece, try it again later. So definitely a wise decision instead of putting your car into an accident and ruining your entire race on lap 1. Coming down the back street, you can already see that the number 78 car who dominated the previous 2 weeks already has a healthy lead. But the rest of the field is still jockeying for position. So, for example, the 52, the 99, and myself are all sitting back here battling for a healthy 5th place. Now, the number 99 car, despite being quick in practice and quick in qualifying, even though he wasn't the fastest, started having lag issues, as we've all been there once or twice, that if everybody tries to use the internet at once, it typically causes problems for online racing. The one thing I will say is, in iRacing versus other racing games online, is if you have someone who's lagging, they blink. They don't teleport all over the place or go sheeping around. They just blink. It's far less dramatic and tends to cause fewer incidents. As we go into lap 2, we're going to look back here at this battle going on for 8th position. So, just kind of an example, you don't have to be the front of the pack to have a battle going. I know the 32 car and the 27 car definitely had a nice long battle throughout the race. So, the beauty about these series is you don't have to be fast to have a good time. And some of the best battles are actually happen towards the mid and further back of the pack. Turn 5 is still in trouble though for the number 9 car. I think he just either overshot it just a little too hot or didn't quite get on the brakes just right, but he put it way off into the exit. There's 27 getting sideways out of 5. So 15 takes the option to jump right in, gets a free position out of the deal. Not too bad. So as you can see, these cars are just continuing to battle out as we finish up lap 2. Despite 15 not qualifying well, he was definitely putting on a show once the race got underway. As we're coming through the last couple of bends here, he dives under 32 with a quick right, left to right, coming out of the third to last corner, through the sweeper to complete the pass, and as you can see, the 32s drop back a little bit. I think lap 4, the 27 eventually gets around as well. On lap 3, you see the 24 and the 25 car just continuing to battle it out. These guys pretty much stick together through the entirety of the race. You'll see them again show back up later on. As we finish up lap 3, the number 5 car just continues to charge back up the field. It's his turn to pass me. So, as we're coming down to the last couple of bends, I'm just trying to run my line and just keep as much momentum as possible. Getting on the throttle maybe a little bit too soon down the turn, getting the tail a little bit out there. One thing you'll see even with our top drivers in the Gerbermeister up front, is the fact that even with these cars, how they are in this particular track, it's all about getting on throttle and dialing the wheel factor, which I had a little bit too much there and lost some speed, so the 5 car really just takes off from me at this point. You can see the 15 and the 27 starting to move their way up the field as well, and I guess the 5 now is in 4th or 5th place. At this point in time of the race, I'm trying to make up ground, get a little sideways into the grass, which puts me kind of in an inopportune position with this long back straight. Being very focused on how much momentum you carry out of turn 4, so 15 and 27 are catching up very quick. You see the 32 back there, and I think the 21, and followed by the 99. The 99 car is just trying to stick it out despite the connection issues, just trying to keep away from everyone to ensure that there is not an incident. So right now we're following along on the 15 car with the 27 close behind, and you can see a little bit with mine. I'm just not doing well at this point in time of the race. I can't remember quite what I was having most difficulty with, but there were definitely I was just out of rhythm. So the 15 catches up fairly quickly due to my mistakes that I've made this past lap. As we're rounding up into lap 5, again coming out a little bit of sideways out of the last corner. So you can see there's a nice battle in front of me with the 5 and the 52, and then you have myself with the 15, the 27, and then further back you have the 21 and the 99, breaking up the rear on the lead lap. Turn 4 again bites me as I'm just trying to drive the car, but ends up overdriving the car, getting the car really sideways, losing a lot of momentum, and giving 15 a very easy pass. You can see me just trying to keep the car together and keep it off the wall. The car just got really bad, really ill-behaved going through that. So through turn 5, the 27 car looks to make a pass on the inside, just not quite close enough to seal it. But I am definitely not on my A game. Just watching the replay from this perspective, it's very clear on that regard. This is a really good passing spot. I mean, a lot of just setting someone up on the far crossover. 27 making a shot at it, but just can't put the power down coming out of the corner. I see a lot of passes, no matter what the series is, that seems to be a very common passing area. So as we begin lap 6, field still reasonably close. I mean, one bad enough mistake and you're right there with somebody else. I think the hardest part when you're running a car that you really do have to just drive, you have to, it's not going to save you if you get it wrong. It doesn't have a whole lot of aero or traction to kind of guide you around the course. I mean, this car, to be fast, you really have to punch it. And speaking of which, we got some trouble here coming through turn 4. A couple of cars got into each other, and just now everybody's just trying to keep off each other and get back in line. From looking at it earlier, it looked like the 23 car just spun out. The 15 had nowhere to go. It was just a mess, and it was a matter of just trying to keep it clean, which didn't quite work out well. I think at this point in time, the 15 just had way too much damage to really stay competitive, and I think he eventually just had another draw at this point. The 999 was still sticking it out, and fighting the 21 car, but as lag just appears again, well, it just doesn't get any better. And so I think it was at this point in time I just realized it's time just to call it quits and park it for the rest of the race. Oh, and I get too sideways, leaving 21 nowhere to go. 99 just gets kind of lag spun into me. Not quite sure. So back towards the front of the field, remember I said this 24 and 25 car are just gonna kind of stick to each other for the whole race. And I wasn't kidding. Here they are again. Lap 7 and they're still within striking distance of each other. It was a little bit of playing tag, and it stays this way for a good while. And then up until our Turbo Meister in the 78 car has, you see him a bit further back. I think he's in 8th position. He had to stop for a splash and go because the fuel setting, the max fuel setting we had for this race was just a little bit tight. And so depending on how the car was geared and you're driving, you could potentially run out of fuel. So it was a bit of a gamble. 78 decided to play it safe, do a little splash and go early on just to give a few additional laps towards the end. And is just now working on making up pace. So the 24 and 25 are sitting first and second at this point in time in the race. As we jump ahead to lap 11, we now have a three-way battle for first place. You got 25, 24, and the number 5 car all just right there at each other, just pushing and pushing. Not so much pushing each other, but just pushing each other as drivers, just to get every little ounce of traction and speed from this car. The battle itself continues for a number of laps, and it leaves us some interesting moments. See, there's 24 just getting a little squirrely in turn 4. That really is kind of the make or break at this particular track, because you do have this very long straightaway. So the 5 car just kind of creeps up and passes the 24 on the outside, and 24 just resumes formation. Despite this further back, there's still a good battle going on. I believe this is for 5th place. And you got the 52, the 27, and the 21 car all just kind of jockeying about. The 52 runs a little bit wide, missing his braking point. 27 and 21 just kind of dive on it. So it's a bit of interesting kind of, especially being the middle driver. The middle driver, it's always the hardest in these three-way battles because you're watching the guy behind you if he's going to make a move. Plus, you're trying to find that opportunity to the guy in front of you, so it's the worst place to be. Sometimes sitting in the back is the easiest, just because you're just kind of waiting to see what happens. It's a little bit of a gamble because if you wait too long, you can end up getting stuck behind the car that just got passed. But in this particular case, the 21 just waits for an opportunity and sticks up. Unfortunately, they didn't communicate too well looking at where they were going, and a little bit of a spin there. But thankfully things got sorted out, and as we moved on to lap 13, you've got number 78 starting to close the gap for our leaders here. You can see 5 is still holding on at second, really pushing the 25 car, just trying to find those tenths of a second to get first place. And it all seems to be going smoothly. However, things change really quickly on lap 14. The battle still continues, but coming through this last hairpin here, 25 gets a little wide, 5 just has to hit the brakes, get a little bit of contact, but 24 and 78 just go right by, completely shifting the lead structure and really leaving for some interesting last laps. Lap 15, 78 car just, I mean, you see how fast he is just coming through turn 4, but you can also see how sideways he is coming through these corners. Really closes in on 24, and turn 4 seems to be 24's point as well. And looking for that looking for that last pass to get him back up to the front. So as 78 continues to pressure 24, and 24 just trying to hang on to that first place. It's only a handful of laps left, but he's definitely feeling the heat placed by the 78. You always know when there's a guy behind you who's just got a better setup car and just runs so much quicker. All you do is just try to run your line and hold on, because that's all really you can do. 24's having a little bit of trouble with that as he's getting a little loose through that last hairpin. Coming back down towards the front straight, and 78 is just hustling, comes on the inside coming out of the last turn, getting a nice drive out of the last corner, taking first place as we start lap 16. From here on out, the 78 car just continues to pull away and take his third consecutive victory here with the World Street Stock Series. You see the 23 car that you saw back there in the dirt. You know, big props to him for sticking it out despite being a rookie, and but just not causing any mayhem for the other drivers. Just being a real good example on etiquette as far as just watching what's around you and everything. So congrats to him. We had a total of 8 drivers finish the race out of the 13 that started, and we'll have the race results here to show here in just a minute. So congratulations to 78 for having the fastest lap time of a 1:45.5, nearly 2 seconds quicker than the next fastest competitor. So the question remains, will anybody be able to catch him in the remaining races of the... So just as a reminder, tomorrow we'll be running at Watkins Glen using the classic boot layout. The lobby will open at 2:15 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So we look forward to seeing everyone there. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you like this series or would like to see more videos related to it and other series that we do. You can also like us on Facebook and add us to your circle on Google+. So until next time, keep it between the lines.